What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I am doing my TLDR version of the Unearthed Arcana playtest. I did a live stream talking about this, but those are usually 3 to 4 hours long, especially this one because the overall document is 50 pages. So what I'm going to do is, instead of doing one long TLDR video, I'm going to do a fewer shorter ones where we cover specific instances of the playtest for those of you who don't either want to read through it or watch a live stream or just want my take on things. So this time we're going to be talking about the weapon mastery and weapons in general. There were a couple of updates to weapons. They added this concept of weapon mastery and a few other small tweaks. Now, we'll just jump in here right to it. So main kind of changes to weapons and things that we'll talk about before we get to the mastery system is short sword. Again, this is all in reference to the playtest material for the 2024 revisions, but short sword is now once again a martial weapon. The net is no longer a weapon, is now considered a piece of adventuring gear. Trident's damage got bumped up from a D6 and a D8 versatile to a D8 and a D10 versatile. The lance no longer has the special property, and they nerfed its damage from a D12 to a D10, which I think I don't like that. And they made Warpick versatile as well. Another thing they added is that thrown weapons can now be drawn and thrown as part of the attack. You don't have to have them in your hand to throw them. You can draw and throw as part of the attack, which I like. They changed back the way two-weapon fighting works. Previously, it had been that a light weapon allowed you to make an attack and make another attack with another light weapon as part of the same attack. They've reverted it now, so two-weapon fighting functions exactly like it did in the 2024 version. Also, the pistol and the musket have been added to the base list of martial weapons. So this, in a theory, if this makes it into the 2024 book, both the pistol and the musket will be available as standard martial weapon options, martial ranged weapon options. Again, a little less range, a little more damage, but a lot more cost. So as you can see here in this column, there is this mastery column. And what this is an attempt to add more versatility and tactics to martial characters. Again, as of we know right now, this is only going to be inborn, kind of in the class built in to the barbarian and the fighter. Barbarian getting it in whatever its base value is that you'll see here. Fighter getting more versatility in it. We'll talk about that more when we talk about the fighter. But we know the monk will be getting this too. A monk just apparently wasn't ready for this playtest. And potentially through the use of feats, you might be able to get this on other classes as well. So what are these? These are inborn abilities that happen on weapons. They don't require any action to trigger them. You don't have to use an action, bonus action, reaction. It's just a thing that happens if you have mastery for it. Again, this is now a class feature built into the base class of Barbarian and Fighter. Again, potentially others in the future, but it's just a thing they have. They pick a certain number of weapons, and they get additional picks as they level up, right? I think it's like 3 or 4 for Barbarian, I think 5 for the Fighter. Choose the weapons you want. You have unlocked the mastery for it, meaning you get to use whatever its ability is. So there's only a couple, so let's talk about them. Cleave. You'll notice this prerequisite here where it says melee heavy property. The reason that's there is that, again, we'll talk about when we get to the fighter, but at a point they get to swap masteries between different weapons that meet the prerequisites, again, as long as they meet those prerequisites and only if they hit a certain level within the base fighter class. Cleave basically gives you two-weapon fighting on a two-handed weapon. If it has cleave and you hit a creature, you can then hit another creature next to it that's within 5 feet, as long as, again, no movement in between, but you just do the ability modifier damage. You don't deal any other damage to it, no weapon damage. Flex gives a versatile weapon the ability to do the versatile weapon damage. Again, for a longsword, that would be a D10, but still being wielded one-handed. Graze is probably the coolest new ability here in that if you miss, you still get to deal damage to the target that you missed. I think it's currently only present on the Great Sword and the Glaive, but if you miss an enemy, you can still deal damage to that enemy equal to the ability modifier for the attack you made. So again, if you had a 20 strength and you miss with your greatsword, you could still deal 5 damage to that creature. Again, it says this weapon can only be increased by increasing your ability score, and it can't be increased in any other way. Jury's out on whether that means like certain other things, like for example, the way rage is worded, it could apply, but is that increasing the weapon's damage or is that supplementally applied? No one knows. We'll have to see. We get a little clarity on that. That'll be one of the comments in the survey. Nick basically reverts these light property weapons back to what they were in the previous playtest, where if you have a light weapon and have the Nick property unlocked, you can make the extra attack as part of 2-weapon fighting as part of the attack action instead of using a bonus action, freeing that up for you. Push allows you to hit a creature, and as long as they're no more than one size larger than you, knock them 10 feet away. There is no saving throw on that, and no limit to the amount of times you can do that on a turn. So depending on the weapon you have, you might be able to chain push people further away, possibly knocking them off cliffs or what have you. Snap is, I think, only available on the mace, and it's just a weapon that has no other properties. And if you hit a creature with it, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Slow, again, no saving throw. You hit a creature, you knock its speed down by 10 feet. It says if you hit the creature more than once with this property, the speed reduction doesn't exceed 10 feet. Not entirely sure if that means if I hit somebody with a slow weapon and knock their speed down by 10 feet, and then you do the same thing, does it knock that down cumulatively by 20? The way I read it is yes. Again, could use some clarification there. And then Topple is the enemy that you hit must make a Constitution saving throw equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus the ability modifier of whatever weapon you're using. And on a failed save, that creature has the prone condition. Also note here, this one has no size restriction either, so a smaller medium character could hit a gargantuan character with a Topple weapon and knock them prone. And lastly here we have Vex, which is if you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to it, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Confirmed, excuse me, that this does allow you to trigger sneak attack for yourself if there's a means for you to do that. So hit somebody with Vex, grants you advantage. Now you could attack with advantage, potentially triggering sneak attack. So there you go, folks. Like I said, the fighter has some other interactivity with the masteries, which we'll talk about when we get to the fighter. But I like this a lot. I think it will do a good job of giving martial characters, especially ones that may not have a lot of flashy abilities, like a champion fighter or berserker barbarian. Good classes all around, especially the ones that are here in the playtest, have some more uniqueness to them. Solid classes overall, but nothing flashy. This gives you a little bit more to do, and I wonder if this means we won't even see a Battlemaster fighter appearing in the 2024 Player's Handbook. Maybe some of these mastery abilities here are essentially similar to what Battlemaster fighter maneuvers were, with the exception of the additional damage from the maneuver die. So perhaps we just deprecate the Battlemaster entirely in favor of some new subclass. We do know that there will be 4 fighter subclasses in the 2024 books. There'll be 4 subclasses for every class. We know Champion is going to be one. And we also know they're possibly cherry-picking subclasses from Xanathar's Guide or Tasha's Cauldron to bring it forward into this, potentially with the opportunity to add a brand new class, a subclass, if they so choose. But I don't know. It feels like, to me, probably going to keep Eldritch Knight, but I bet you we might end up losing the Battlemaster in favor of the Mastery system. Perhaps there may be feat chains you can get later on that allow you to add damage when you're applying your masteries. Who knows? So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Also, what the thought process is about doing multiple short TLDR videos as opposed to like one 40-minute one. So we'll see what the next one is and when it comes out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.